You're a man of action. You live life to the fullest, embrace your fears, and boldly chart your own path. When life knocks you down, you get back up one more time, every time. You are not easily deterred or defeated. Rugged, resilient, strong. This is your life. This is who you are. This is who you will become. At the end of the day, and after all is said and done, you can call yourself a man.
Gentlemen, what is going on today? My name is Ryan Mickler, and I am the host and the founder of this podcast, The Order of Man. I want to welcome you today, whether you've been tuning in for months or years, or this is your first episode. Guys, this is a show dedicated to helping you become a better man in every facet of your life, from family to business to community service to your health and relationships, wealth, everywhere in between. I've got some really interesting thoughts for you today regarding a term that seems to be thrown around more and more that frankly just isn't true, and it ends up painting an inaccurate picture about what's really going on with the state of masculinity in the world today. But before I get into that, I do want to let you know the time is nearly here. Next week is the release of my first book. I don't know why I keep calling it my first book. I have no intention of writing a second book right now after the process I just went through, but maybe subconsciously I've got another one in me. Regardless, the book is called Sovereignty, The Battle for the Hearts and Minds of Men, and it is going to be a powerful, powerful tool in countless men's lives for reclaiming all the power they've given to their bosses, employers, governments, organizations, spouses, and I can't even begin to describe how excited I am about it. And if you're interested, you will need to head to orderofman.com/book to be notified when it goes live on February 1st. Again, that's orderofman.com/book. And while you're there, you can download the introductory chapter for free. Outside of that, guys, I do want to let you know that this show is sponsored by Health IQ. We've done a little work with them in the past. They are an insurance company. They help you and other health-conscious people, runners, cyclists, weightlifters, any other athletes get lower rates on their life insurance. I actually used to be a life insurance agent, so I know how expensive life insurance can be. But unlike a lot of these companies where you end up subsidizing those who are not as healthy as you are, Health IQ uses data and they're using science. They get you lower rates on your life insurance, again, for health-conscious people. In fact, over 50% of their customers save up to 33% on their life insurance. You know as well as I do that physically active people are healthier in general. And some stats that I saw, they have 56% lower risk of heart disease, 20% lower risk of cancer, 58% lower risk of diabetes compared to, again, people who are inactive. So like saving money on your car insurance for being a good driver, Health IQ is going to save you money on your life insurance for living that health-conscious lifestyle that a lot of you are. You can learn more and get your free quote at healthiq.com/orderofman. healthiq.com/orderofman. No announcements other than that today. I do want to get into this message. Again, there's a term that's being tossed around these days that's really been bothering me the more and more I think about it. The term is toxic masculinity. And the reason that this term bothers me is because, frankly, it just doesn't exist. It's not real. And to perpetuate the term, I think, is to do injustice to what it means to be a man in the first place, which is probably why it's pushed with such a heavy hand. I think there's this growing movement to undermine masculinity, and the term toxic masculinity, and others like it, is just one way to spread the propaganda that somehow masculinity is bad or evil or toxic, and it just isn't the case. Masculinity, by its very nature, is good. It's strong, it's assertive, it's productive, it's caring, it's compassionate, it's charitable, and I'd even go so far as to say it's loving. Look, a situation or a man can either be toxic or masculine, not both. The term toxic masculinity would be like saying it's light outside but kind of dark, or my boss is a really nice jerk, or that guy is really wealthy but in a poor kind of way. These are polar opposite terms and cannot possibly work in harmony or unison. Now, sure, all men have the capacity to be both. I've been an arrogant, prideful a-hole at times in my life, and separately, I've used masculine virtues to create productive outcomes for myself and those around me. But never once have I displayed quote-unquote toxic behavior while simultaneously utilizing my masculine virtues. They don't work together. And besides, toxicity is gender neutral. It's neither masculine nor feminine. If it were, the term toxic femininity would also be used, but it isn't. A woman who is overly caring, kind, and compassionate to a fault wouldn't be considered toxic. She would most likely be considered naive. Not even the behavior of third-wave feminists is considered toxic femininity. I would consider many of the rants and ideologies as bitter and resentful and angry, but I would not categorize some of the behavior I've seen as feminine at all. I can hear the naysayers now. Ryan, what about these macho guys that go around treating everyone like garbage and manipulating them to get what they want? Yeah, what about them? That isn't masculine behavior. It's childish and potentially evil, but certainly not masculine. And I've had other people say, well, I guess it depends on how you define masculinity. And I suppose that's true, but no one in their right mind would define masculinity as bad. And I guess that's kind of the problem, isn't it? I mean, many people believe that masculinity by its very nature is not good for society. To hammer the point home, these people are not in their right mind. They're damaged. I don't say that to antagonize or belittle them, but to paint the picture that these people have been hurt physically, mentally, emotionally, or they've seen others hurt. And in order to protect themselves from future pain, they've created a false reality that all men, not just the ones who hurt them, are bad. But let me explain something that many people seem to overlook. Correlation does not equal causation. Just because an evil individual happens to be male does not make all males inherently evil, or only males evil. That sounds absurd, even when saying it, but there's thousands and thousands, if not millions of people who believe they are. So I hope by this point we're all on the same page here, because it's critical that we as men unite in an effort to share with the world all the good that is masculinity. We have allowed a few to damage the very idea of masculinity for all of us. So how do we do this? Very simply, guys, it starts with you. It starts with the way that you show up in your family, in your business, your community. The fact is, there's people out there looking at you and watching you. They're modeling your behavior, and then they're framing their opinions based on how you, as a man, interact with the world. The way we reclaim what it is to be a man is to behave like the men that we're capable of being, and to show our families and our employees and our neighbors how righteous and honorable men step up to serve others. Service is the foundation of what it means to be a man. Protect, provide, preside. All three represent a level of service to others. There's this growing movement to quote unquote redefine masculinity. That's not the problem at all. The problem is that it's already been redefined by those who have either been damaged by men or for whatever reason have created a false reality about the way we as men are designed to operate with our time here on this planet. Masculinity does not need to be redefined. It needs to be reclaimed. It won't be found in the boy who never learns what it meant to be a man. It won't be found in the women who try to teach us what they will never fully understand. It won't be found by the man who has created an unhealthy response to his own life's circumstances. It won't be found by the man who refuses to own his thoughts and his behaviors and his actions. It will be found by you and me. The men who work hard to provide for their families, the man who wakes up early and he stays up late to help his children do their homework, the man who risks his livelihood to create a business that will bring a product or a service and jobs to the marketplace, the man who coaches his children's and community sports teams, the man who helps a neighbor mow their lawn, the man who loses himself in serving and lifting others up. That is what it means to be a man. And that is what we need to reclaim from the boys who disguise themselves as men and those who are out to undermine the value that each and every one of us have the opportunity to provide in our families, our businesses, and our communities. Gentlemen, that's all I have for you today. Please, I ask that you share this message with the world. I think it's a message that represents the vast majority of the way most men and women think and feel. We've been silent for too long and allowed others to dictate what makes us who we are. So share this podcast episode on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, wherever you do the social media thing. You can tag me at Ryan Mickler or at Order of Man. You can find this show, make a link if you would on social media at orderofman.com/FFN, as in Friday Field Notes, so FFN092. Until next week, guys, take action and become the man you are meant to be.
Thank you for listening to the Order of Man podcast. If you're ready to take charge of your life, and be more of the man you were meant to be, we invite you to join the Order at orderofman.com.